Good morning and welcome to Cramer's Corner with Daily Technical Update. It's Friday, the 26th of September. This video is for educational purpose only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended. So let's have a look at what happened on the market yesterday and what it seems like to happen today. We have Nasdaq 100 that was a little bit lower. But we're still in a bullish trend as long as we stay above 24,000 and close below here could establish at least a short-term bearish trend. So we are in a bit of correction phase, but if it takes out the previous peaks here, then uptrend has resumed and there is further upside potential. But again, remember we are in end of September, end of quarter. So there could be some window dressing, some profit taking, and there could be some getting rid of stocks that they don't want to, fund managers don't want to carry on into the last quarter of the year. Here pre-market basically unchanged. So let's have a look at the S&P 500, and let's zoom in here. And yeah, 6,550. As long as we stay above that, then we're still in a bullish trend. There's some then support here at 6,480. There's some support there. We also have the 55 moving average coming up, and the pre-market basically unchanged. Dow Jones, it's nothing to be worried about. The only thing that we should worry about is that there's divergence here on the RSI. So we are in uptrend exhaustion mode for now. You see the same here on S&P 500, RSI declining, market moved higher. So that is indicating uptrend exhaustion. But let's see. I think we could see a little bit larger correction going into October, and then we have October where a lot of earnings will be released that could also that usually also create some volatility. But for now, it is not that alarming. Only that you should keep an eye on. Think about, well, uptrend is stretched, and keep an eye on these support levels there. That could be key. On the Hang Seng. This morning in Asia, a little bit lower. So also a bit of correction here. If it takes out 25,933, we could see it dipping lower. Also here we have divergence on the RSI. So there is a warning sign that the uptrend is stretched and it is in exhaustion mode for now. So that's why we see these corrections here. These can't really make up our mind what I want to do. But we saw also this for a long period of time here, for about a month, where it basically traded sideways and then it took off. So let's see about what's happening there. So there's really not much on the Nikkei. See, that's an interesting development. It is the future I'm showing here. We had a doji yesterday. Seems to be selling off a little bit today. Also here, as you can see, divergence RSI, the strength indicator is declining when the market moved higher. So also uptrends exhaustion mode. So it needs to take out the peak here on all-time highs, and RSI needs to get back above this horizontal line here at 76.39. If it can't do that, then, well, support here at 44,250, that is key. And then we have some support down here in that region here. This one, let's get rid of this. Then down here around 43,000, where we could see it setting back to. And the European markets, well, fairly quiet here on EuroStoxx. Market just opened, and we are basically unchanged, as we can see here also. So it's hovering around this 786 retracement here at 5,467. A bit of volatility intraday, but really nothing to show for it at the end of the day. So it still needs to get above this peak here at 5,510 to really for a push higher, and I don't see it happening. It seems like it's really struggling. And then if we are looking at the DAX index, it's still in a bearish trend, below all moving average, below the cloud. negative sentiment on the RSI. However, there is divergence here, so I think we will trade sideways here for quite a while, and without, you know, clear direction. Yes, we are in a bearish trend, and there is potential down to around 23,000, possibly lower to 22,800, but it is not a slam dunk. But again, trust the trend, and I don't see DAX establishing a bullish trend anytime soon. It needs to get above 24,064 at least to do so. Here, the CFD, you can see it dipped lower yesterday and then bounced, so still above the support area here around 23,260. So really not much there either. That is the key support you need to look out for. If it takes it out, well, then we could be looking at 22,800. On the FX market, we had euro dollar continuing its setback to the 786 retracement here at 116.48, and then seems to be bouncing maybe. Still above the cloud, just around the 55 moving average. In this corrective move here, if it takes out the lows from yesterday, then we could actually see a test of the lower rising trend line and possibly a dip down to 115.70, 75 support down here. And that will be key, where we have the 100 moving average also coming up. We have the cloud giving some support. We're still in a positive sentiment. I wouldn't be surprised if it dips down there and then bounces. But if it already bounces now and start crawling back here, then we could see your dollar crawling back to 118. But for now, the pressure is quite a bit to the downside. Sterling dollar also lower during yesterday 2 days sessions, testing the support here at 133.30. I think it will drop lower. We are below the cloud. We are below all moving averages. 55 declining. Negative sentiment on the RSI. There is potential now down to the 132 area, possibly lower. And I think we will see that in the coming days. That's weekends, but maybe today and going into next week. It needs to get back above 135.40 to reverse that bearish trend. The euro sterling pushing slightly higher, and I think it will crawl higher to the peak here at 87.67, and also towards 88. I think we could see it pushing higher to that in the coming weeks. The dollar yen broke resistance yesterday there around 149, and there is now room up to around 150, 151, the previous peak there, despite the fact that we have this 200 moving average coming down, kind of trying to drag it down a little bit, but we have the 55 coming up. We are above the cloud. We are in a positive sentiment on the RSI. We are above the 100 moving average, so it has established a bullish trend. Could see a little bit of a setback, but I think we will see a push up towards 151 in the next week or so. Euro yen also crawling higher towards 175.50. I think we could see it crawling even higher, and especially if RSI breaks above its falling trend line there, which I believe it will do today or early next week. I think we'll see it crawling higher to the 161.8 projection at 176.50 area, possibly even higher. We are in a bullish trend. It's not the strongest one, but nevertheless, it is intact and in motion. Aussie yen, well, the correction here is still ongoing. Still positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence. I think we will see Aussie yen also pushing higher towards 99.40. We can estimate even better if and when it breaks above this 98.45 there. Maybe we could have a look at the 100 level even. If it takes out 97.20, well, the correction could be ongoing and pushing a little bit lower, but the bullish trend will still be intact. On the sterling yen rejected there at 61.8 retracement in this correction phase, but we're still in a bullish trend. Slightly positive sentiment on the RSI. We are above the 55 moving average. We're above 100 moving average. I think it will crawl higher in the coming weeks, but this is the range it needs to break out of. So let me just put it there, say, well, 198.90. If it takes out that, then we're looking at 197.85. And if it takes out the peak there, well, then we're looking at the 203 area. Aussie dollar, well, massive correction going on here. Took out that minor support there, currently around the 61.8 retracement there, 65.25. Will it dip lower? Well, that would be key because we have the RSI just above the 40 threshold, actually still in positive sentiment. I reckon it will bounce off at least short term, but if it takes it out and pushes lower, well, we have the 100 moving average coming up here, giving a little bit of a support. But we could see it dip down to the 786 and below the cloud and then a bounce. So let's see. But if it starts crawling back here above 66, then I think uptrend will resume. It will be confirmed by that. So it's crucial at the moment where it is trading now a little bit there. Dollar Canada, oops, on the move, as we talked about the past few days, pushing higher towards 138.2 projection. I think we'll see it up to 140, and then we could see a correction. We'll probably maybe spike higher, but at 140, I think we could see it. Positive sentiment on the RSI, maybe slightly divergence, but yeah, there's a little bit. But I think the move is still in motion. So the bullish move here, and I think 140 could be reached fairly shortly. Sterling Canada, if it wants to come out, Sterling Canada is also it's a very volatile pair, really. And it has bounced once again from the 100 and from the 55 moving average, and I could imagine seeing it bouncing once again back to these levels here, but it needs to take out 187.40 to establish a bullish trend. If it takes out and close below the cloud and 185.50, 185.30, well, then we have a confirmed bearish trend, especially if our RSI closes back below 40 threshold. But for now, quite a bit of volatility in this region between 185 and 187. The Swiss franc, well, against euro, still fairly boring, so I don't want to repeat myself. Dollar Swiss here, dollar Swiss testing the upper falling trend line there at around the 55 retracement and the 50 retracement and the 55 moving average. That is kind of putting a lid on it there. Let's remove this one. Still bearish trend, but it seems to be neutralizing it shortly there. I think we could see it spike to 80.40, the 61.8 retracement. Then we have the 100 moving average coming down. We have the cloud here, so that could be a bit of a resistance and maybe a spike up and then a setback. But if it can move back above here, then we are looking at 81 level. If it takes out the 79 level, well, then a downtrend will resume, or quite likely will resume. The dollar index, well, about 50% retracements at the 100 moving average. You can see how it actually kind of putting a lid on it, so a little bit of struggling there. Could spike up to the 61.8 retracement, but not quite sure that it will. In the cloud, so basically neutral position, we have RSI testing the 60 threshold, needs to close above for positive sentiment to establish a bullish trend. If it doesn't, then and it slides back here and RSI slides back, then downtrend could resume. But for now, we have a bullish correction that could take it a little bit higher. On the commodities and metal space, we have the gold still in this top and reversal pattern playing out with the bearish engulfing there. Will it play out as a top reversal and a correction? We could see higher levels on gold after a correction. It's a key question: how big will it be? Will it set back to 3,600? If it does, I think that will be it, and then we will push higher. But there is a little bit uptrend exhaustion mode here. You can see RSI has is showing divergence. It didn't follow all the way, so there's a little bit divergence there. So it will be key. But if we take out the peak there, well, then we are looking at the 3900 level, as you can see here on the weekly chart. And if we that's the monthly chart. If we are moving into the weekly chart, we have this triangle-like pattern that broke out of. There is still potential higher, but it actually reached the 100% of the size of the triangle, and also 176 here, just around 3,790, and it was I think it just overshoot with $1. So I think we'll see a correction, but if it takes out the peak there, then we are looking at high levels towards 3,900. The silver pushing higher, so no correction there. So silver really on the move here. Maybe you can drag gold higher. And let's have a look again what's going on with silver. Now it's actually headed for the 2011 peaks that were around just below $50. I mean, look at that. That's a massive move. It's canceling for now, at least. The month here hasn't isn't over yet, but it seems to be canceling the RSI divergence. So pushing higher, we could see silver towards $50 fairly soon. So brace yourself for that. Very strong move, but there could be setbacks. On the platinum also pushing higher, as we can see, towards 1570 and even higher. No, well, there is actually there is the divergence on the other side, but we are in a strong bullish move, and I think it could continue taking out the minor resistance there. I think we could push up to around a 1750 area here in the coming weeks. That's a really strong move from after it's been asleep for quite some time. Really strong move there, and could push higher in the coming weeks. But be careful, quite volatile, as you can see in today, and the spreads are big. So if you're trading platinum, be careful also with the stops. The copper reached almost the resistance there at 495, and then got knocked back down, a bit below the cloud, below all the 55 and the 100 moving average. Still in a bullish trend, still positive sentiment, indicating we could see it pushing higher. But for now, I think we could see it sliding lower to maybe test the lower rising trend line there. What we can also do, we can see, okay, can Fibonacci help us here, and possibly down to at least the 470, which is around the 200 moving average, and the 38.2 retracement. So at least that, possibly a little bit lower, and then we can see again a bounce. On the energy markets, well, WTI is still sideways trading, needs to get back above $66 at least to establish a bullish trend. See, the interesting thing here is that Brent Crude actually closed above its resistance there yesterday, but it wasn't really supported by a close on the RSI above 60 threshold, so still negative sentiment here. So let's see if it can follow through and push higher. If it can and close an RSI above 60 threshold, well, then there's potential to 73 area, 73.5 on the Brent crude oil. European nat gas, and let's zoom in so we better can see what really is going on there. So hugging this trend line here, I will adjust it a little bit. There's no fall in doing that, and then testing the 55 moving average coming down here, also in this triangle-like pattern there. Maybe, and we're going to look at the US nat gas in a minute, because that's actually exploded yesterday or overnight. So maybe we will have a bullish breakout of this triangle-like pattern here, and then we have some resistance around 33.90. That will be key. If it takes out the lower rising trend line, then 31.60 is key, and especially down here at 31 area. So there's so much going on here, but it's tighter and tighter range, and eventually it will have to break out, and let's see if that it will happen before the weekend or early next week. US nat gas, and we can see massive move yesterday. I have been out, so I haven't checked what's really caused this move, but it closed above 320 resistance, above 60 threshold there. And so now we have a confirmed bullish trend, and it could push higher in the coming week or weeks, but possibly. A little bit of setback is not unlikely for a push higher towards 336, 340, 45, possibly up here where we have the 200 moving average. The 100 will give it a little bit of a hard time there, so I don't think it's just a slam dunk, but that was a massive move there yesterday. Moving on to the interest rates and US Treasury yields. The US 10-year is getting closer to the 420, which is the 61.8 retracement. I think it could be tested, and the RSI could test the 60 threshold. So possibly today or early next week, it could be crucial. Will it actually continue higher, or will it set back? That will be key also both on RSI and the actual price graph or the interest rates graph here. So 420, I think it will be touched at least. On the European yields, we have the EU 10-year crawling higher, and it could push towards the 280, possibly higher, because look at that, we have RSI back above 60 threshold at the moment, and could push higher. 286, 138.2 projection of this. So we have a short-term bullish trend, medium-term bullish trend if it moves back above 280. UK also pushing higher, and I think we could see it to 480 here fairly shortly. That will be a bit of a move, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it. In the bigger picture, we are still in a bullish trend, so it is quite likely it will also push higher here. The Japanese yen, same picture here, hovering around the 165. But the bullish trend is intact, as you can see. Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, slowly moving higher there. Bitcoin sell-off is ongoing. Past 24 hours really sold off here, and I think we could see the key support here at 107,250 being tested fairly soon. If it's being taken out, well, then we could be looking at levels of all the way down to around 100,000 actually. That will be in play again. A downtrend will push it lower. Ethereum has also established a bearish trend. 3,726 seems likely, but there is risk down to around 3,400 area. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and a nice weekend when you get to there. Talk to you again Monday.